Put an emoji in the chat. I see we got different colors happening today. I want to welcome all my new viewers, all my new subscribers, all of you that have donated. I appreciate you. Of course, I got to send a special love and thanks to all of my members. If you would like to contribute towards a viewer donated pool, please do. The CA is PEKA69, PEKA69. How y'all doing this morning? What's going on? Is there any questions for me? Is there any questions? Yeah, we got different colors popping off here. I guess it's the way the sun is hitting the device. So if you're hearing background noise, those are people living. They have no association with me. Going off. So alarms are going off this morning. Some of y'all are going to see these things as red flags. I just got an interesting notification. So Carmen's in Tokyo. That's a beautiful thing. How many of y'all know the celebrity artist, actor, Common? He's a lyricist, by the way. Good morning. How you doing? There go my members. Anybody have any questions for me? I am indeed very busy these days. We have those up and down days, those moments where we're being called to do a lot, and then we have to rest. And the rest period is not as easy. Those that are workaholics know what I'm talking about. Some people believe when you are a workaholic and you have to slow down, it ages you. Does anyone feel the same way? Priscilla, I have no idea why you are being singled out. You could email me at oracleoftheether@gmail.com if you would like to book with me. It might be a rule there. So that just depends. It's a mixture. You know, when we are in other people's homes, domains, institutions, there's rules and regulations like with anything. This is why so many strive so hard to not be under someone else's control. There's so many attempting to control others, and sometimes that stuff comes back as karma. So if you find yourself attempting to control someone, especially with Splifka, it may show up in your daily life. Oh, what type of breed is it? It very well could be. You could be correct. Maybe you need to research that. Well, that's not nice. That's not a nice thing to say to someone. Well, I mean, well then there's your answer right there. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. We say Dios. It's your energy, Daria. Maybe you should try solitude for a while. You don't necessarily need to be sociable. This could be a rest period. I love you as well. I appreciate all of you. So we have the dump truck coming. So this is telling me something here. Don't be surprised if you run into a lot of hiccups. My members especially. So a lot of times when I come on is to check the energy. And when things like this happen back to back, that tells me that it's going to be a chaotic day, uh, not just for me, but for my tribe members. Taking out the garbage is right. We were having a conversation about that earlier. The garbage does not take itself out, not this time. Peace and bliss to everyone. Um, you know, it depends on how you look at it, Daria. When you talk about attracting certain types of frequencies, you know, a lot of times they may see you as an angel. They could feel like you could help them. It's not reciprocated, of course, it's not. So if they see you in a certain light, you're going to get a lot of people coming to you. There was a period where people would just come to me and tell me their problems. It seems like the more you try to be to yourself, the more it happens. I don't believe anyone that has been considered a savior throughout history believed that they were. Not when it was happening. Others deem them as saviors because of the influence that they have on their life. I feel like he's going to be out of here pretty soon. You know, when you ascend, oh, don't kill me now. He'll take it up. It was backing up. You know, you're not supposed to be behind any trucks. You say that there was it's been like that for 2 years. Oh, yeah, okay, I got you. When you ascend and you're not supposed to, that tends to happen. So if you felt like you needed to ascend for some reason, forced ascension would be meditation specifically for ascension. If you don't know what it is, why would you want to do it? You want to stay away from frequencies and tones, and it's like jumping ahead. Jumping ahead. You miss things when you jump ahead. There's a phase. It's a protocol to ascension. So if you're somewhere where you're not supposed to be, like say you apply for a job, right? And you jot down that you have a certain type of skill set. And then when you're called to the table, you don't know what you're doing. Some people see it as an advancement, but that's a position that belongs to someone that is already skilled. So you're taking someone else's place. The same thing with ascension. Oh, well, that's good for you. You know, that means if they come with a mask, that means you have something to offer. Because nowadays, they don't mask their, it's not really the H word. They don't mask it. It's right there in your face. So if someone is putting a mask on for you, that means you have something to offer. So you have to think about what you have to offer, and therein is the solution, not the problem. You have to excuse yourself out of that type of circle. If it's a work environment, that means you go to a different part. You don't socialize. You come in a little later. You come in a little earlier. It's ways around it, you know? I'm pretty sure it'll come out in one of the readings, so just be patient. It's because the paradigm shift is closed. We are in the aftermath, so that means a lot of people, you know, you're gonna have some pushback. If somebody knows that things are not working in their favor and they're used to things working in their favor, you're gonna see a different side of them. You know, you can see somebody that brings coffee and donuts every Friday. You know, they have potlucks and gatherings and all type of things with individuals, and they look like they are the best person ever. They're so sociable. When you have a paradigm shift that is closed, they know that energy is not conducive of their greatness. So that means they're not going to ascend past that level. And you'll see it, start to see a different side, which is coming out in the readings. For specifically for the ones that have done Splifka, and y'all know what that is. When they call on these entities, deities, demis, and all of this stuff, they don't realize that they don't like them. And anything that you can get out of a book is a being. If that being is no more, that means you won't hear, see, know of them. So if you're going to a sacred doctrine, an old doctrine, even if it's not correct, a lot of times those sacred doctrines are reincarnates and incarnates. So you're calling on the same being in a different name, if y'all catch my drift. And so you get to call in these beings, and you realize later on that these beings don't like you because you have a past with them. And certain beings will say you do this every life. Every time the man upstairs puts you in a body, you do the same thing. So that means you're not a candidate for evolution. There's nothing that is going to evolve in regards to that person. So all of you have to understand there is an era and a timeline where the man upstairs said he is not going to destroy his creation. And a lot of times these ones that push back are aware of that. And so there's a special place for those ones. The man upstairs wants you to understand is more than egotistical. Their demeanor and outlook towards life is one of I don't use that word. It's one that you don't want to socialize with. So when you get people that are high vibration, that have practiced being high vibrational, whether or not if they are being or not, when they encounter someone like that, they will drain you energetically. They will pull all that goodness out of you. Some of you, you're starting to notice a lot of people that are talking to themselves. Now you understand that they are speaking to someone in their mind and not to themselves. Some of you, you get it. The ones that you have to stay away from, move, you know, because you'll feel it. Don't make a mistake of not moving when you feel like you need to move, because you don't know what's going to happen. That is your sixth sense kicking in. Someone says, do you? We always have one scraggler, one troll, one trolliana up in there. And then when they realize that that's not something that they needed to do, what it is they'll be on one. You know, every other day they sit and they don't say nothing. And then that day, you know, where is it, Friday someplace? That one day they decide that they're going to be bold, and then there you have it. You know what I mean? Then they realize they shouldn't have did that. This is the type of channel this is. I appreciate you too. You know what? When you run across a possessive woman, that is because they've had it. They're not going to take this issue no more, and they want a man or a male by any means necessary, and you'll do. You'll do, because someone told them that they are not supposed to be single. So they feel like they only have a certain amount of eggs left. They only have a certain amount of beauty left. So we're going to do what we need to do. And that energy did come out in one of the readings that I'm working on. So that reading may resonate with you. Me, myself, I've encountered possessive women, but it's always in a work environment, always. Yeah, with the type of Hess that was on my lineage, we encountered all of them. And by lineage, I'm talking about Shaktis. There's another Shakti with the I, not an E. So it's always in a place where they feel they can control you or dominate you. So I'm used to encounters with women like that, but not in a romantic setting. So it's a little bit different. When they have control over you, when it comes down to do with your livelihood, it's a different energy. And so this is what I was saying to one of my members or viewers, supporters, that if they're wearing a mask, they feel like you have something to offer and they want it. So be skeptical of those type of individuals. For the males and the men, they tend to have an agenda too. So if you have an agenda and you run across someone like that, they're going to placate you. A lot of times they'll buy you what you want. They don't mind paying for excursions and things of that sort. And then later on, your eggplant don't work. And you're wondering why. And it is because you encountered someone that just couldn't take it no more. And so every male or man they have encountered in their life has left them, scorned them, and now you are going to get the brunt end of that. So be mindful. And it doesn't matter about how young you are, how old you are. It doesn't matter. Shaktis with the I specifically are not possessive women. You know, if you were to come to me and say, I want your man, I'm gonna say, really? Go see if you can get him. That's what I would say. I'm not, what Cardi say, and I'm fighting over D2. I like that line, but I mean, it depends. It depends. If it's my spiritual spouse, you might get a good wop. I might whop you real good. Because I know it's something else behind that. He gonna whop you too. He gonna whop you so hard, boy, you're not gonna be able to see the next day. So yeah, if you are a male, a man that is viewing this, you don't miss your water till your well runs dry. And what that means is somewhere along the line, you did something to someone that you shouldn't have did. You shouldn't have did. You shouldn't have did it. And it came back in the form, this is interesting. It's a premiere with Buju. I'm a fan of him. El Capitan too. So yeah, you want to be mindful, especially now, because it's when they start glamorizing Splifka and put it in these major magazines, that means everybody know about it. When they started talking about affirmations in the mirror and stuff, and don't be multi-dimensional, because you might wake up ugly in one dimension and then the next you beautiful and you like, wait a minute, I look different. Then when you go outside, because you done did make me look like her spell, and all the males and the men's is smiling and winking at you. You might overdo something. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You get to doing it too much, and then it has an adverse reaction. Y'all know nothing about that. I hope not. Make me look like her spell. And I'm telling you, they be doing that. You be saying, why me? You know how I know it was a period where a lot of women and females would say Halle Berry is the best looking woman of color, and some would say out of all time, but I've seen some pretty beautiful women. Apollonia, to be exact. Growing up, I would see her and say she's an extremely beautiful woman. But when you have females that feel like they done came up on something and nobody know about it, they be in the mirror talking about, make me look like Apollonia. Then you find out Apollonia was never married. All the men left her, and you be like, maybe I shouldn't have did that. You learn from doing. Ain't that a trip, y'all? How you see a woman and she's extremely beautiful, and you're another woman or a female, and you're saying, this woman is gorgeous. How is she single? We know how she's single. You need to get a reading. We know how you're single. I know for a fact that at a certain point, when you ascend to a certain dimension, you get asked things. And because he's doing that, I know that I cannot elaborate on it because he's not going to woo-wop me. And y'all know what I'm talking about. So is there any, if you had any questions, I was running my mouth so I wasn't looking at the chat. Okay, if you, no, you don't, I just caught the end of that question. My member just asked, no, you won't get a replacement of a spiritual spouse. It could be that you believe someone is your spiritual spouse and they're not, because typically when you have a spiritual spouse, they're with you. They're with you from the beginning to the end, depending on who they are. That means you're not going to get rid of them. And that's how it's made. That's the union that is unbreakable, even if you don't see eye to eye. Because when you have a spiritual spouse, that means they are brawling for you spiritually. So when it comes to manifestation, when you are finally with that person, it's unbreakable. There is your spiritual spouse could be with someone else. They could be physically married to someone else. And if that is the case, then you know that that individual has karmic debt with that person. So if it takes 20 years, 25 years, another lifetime, that don't mean that that is not your spiritual spouse. So the way I see it is, spiritual spouse, that is my husband. With the man upstairs, you don't need a paper contract. The paper contract is what has so many messed up. Now y'all understand, even with a prenup, you can still get woo-wop. That is the message that he is trying to send when he's telling y'all this information. So you can feel like you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed, and then they'll find a loophole. So I'm gonna go ahead and well, you know, you for who is this? Daria. With you, what we feel is happening is a past life. You are a candidate for a past life, present karma. Then you will understand that is the type of service that I offer. You have to email me at oracleoftheether@gmail.com. Once you get that type of service, then you'll understand why you attract these individuals and why in this lifetime, in that body, you are a peaceful person. You'll start to understand it, because it is how you pay it back. When you know the signs, that means you ascended. That means you passed the test, and they can no longer do it the same way. That is the man upstairs doing that. When you acknowledge it, okay, the first step was sharing. When you acknowledge it, like, okay, well, maybe in the past life I did this, and this is the reason why. When you acknowledge it, especially to the man upstairs, then he puts you in another place where you can clear that debt. Because if you are a candidate for ascension, that means you evolve. You don't stay stagnant. Even if your physical environment you feel is not up to par. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about your livelihood, your finances, because sometimes you got to go through that rough patch to get to a place where you're solid. When you start to get up there in age and you start realizing, hey, I purchased a home, but I still got to pay taxes. When you get 90, you're not going to be trying to work. And I don't know many that have accumulated enough to be able to live for the rest of their life when they can't work. So when you start realizing those type of things, you start looking at things a little bit different. That is it.